You did not arrive here by coincidence. Something within you called, and this moment answered. The words you are hearing are not entertainment. They are a mirror, a doorway, and a signal that your inner frequency has aligned with a truth long hidden. Many pass through life asleep, but you are awake enough to notice. This is not information, it is initiation. Your awareness is no longer bound by chance, scrolling, or random encounters. You have entered a field where thought bends reality, where silence speaks, and where destiny whispers. Do not look away. You were meant to hear this. You are seeing this because life has been sending you signals disguised as coincidences, and though you may have brushed them off, deep down you have always known they meant more. That song that seems to play at the exact moment you need it. The word that echoes back to you from a stranger's lips just after you thought it. The way a number keeps appearing everywhere you turn. All of this is not random. It is the hidden choreography of a universe that has always been in conversation with you. The question is not whether the signs are real. The question is whether you will let yourself finally listen. Think of the times you have felt pulled to go somewhere without knowing why, only to discover later that the timing was perfect, or the friend who suddenly reaches out the exact moment you are thinking of them, or the way your body sometimes whispers with chills, goosebumps rising without reason, as though your skin itself has become an antenna tuned to truth. These are not accidents. They are reminders that you are already in dialogue with something larger than your mind. You may call it the universe, spirit, quantum field, God, or simply intuition. It does not matter what name you give it. What matters is that you recognize the conversation has been happening all along. You see, reality has always been speaking your language. It speaks in rhythm and repetition, in whispers and nudges, in subtle alignments that you can dismiss as chance if you are not ready. But you are here, listening now because some part of you has grown tired of pretending it is coincidence. Some part of you knows the fabric of existence is woven with intention. And here is the paradox. The signs are both extraordinary and ordinary. They feel mystical and miraculous, yet they arrive through the most mundane channels: a passing billboard, a slip of conversation, the flight of a bird across your path. The infinite hides inside the ordinary, because that is the only way it could always reach. This is how truth works. It does not come crashing through the door with thunder. It seeps quietly through the cracks in your awareness until you can no longer ignore it. Life is patient. It will repeat the lesson as many times as you need to hear it. That is why certain patterns keep circling back. The same challenge in different clothes. The same opportunity you hesitate to accept. The same feeling that won't leave you alone. The universe does not grow weary of reminding you. It waits. It aligns. It orchestrates again and again until you recognize that the pattern itself is the message. You are not imagining this. You are remembering it. The sensitivity you feel, the sense that things connect in ways you cannot logically explain, is not a delusion. It is evidence that your perception is widening. Do you recall when you were a child, and the world seemed alive, enchanted, speaking directly to you? A tree could feel like it was listening. A gust of wind could feel like an answer. Somewhere along the way, the world told you to grow out of that, to dismiss the magic as fantasy, to silence the part of you that knew everything was connected. But you never lost. It has been dormant, waiting for you to remember. What you feel now is the return of that childlike knowing, except this time, it is not naive innocence, it is awakened perception. And here is another paradox. The more you accept the signs as real, the more they appear. Skepticism starves them, but openness multiplies them. It is not because the universe suddenly decides to send more once you believe. It is because you finally allow yourself to note. The signals were always there, humming in the background, just as stars still shine in the day, though you cannot see them. Belief does not create them. Belief uncovers them, and each time you acknowledge one, you strengthen your ability to perceive the next. This is not superstition, it is resonance. Attention is frequency, and frequency determines what you can tune into. Think of your mind like a radio dial. When you are lost in stress or fear, your station is static, and the messages are drowned out. But the moment you quiet yourself, the moment you breathe, slow down, soften your grip, the signal becomes clear again. That's when synchronicity floods in, as if the universe has been waiting eagerly at the other end of the line saying, finally, you picked up. And each synchronicity is not just a random hello, it is guidance, a breadcrumb trail, leading you toward your higher alignment. Perhaps you have noticed this already. When you are resisting life, everything feels like friction. Doors close, traffic slows, conversations misfire and you feel trapped. But when you align with even a little bit of trust, things begin to flow. You catch the right bus, the opportunity lands in your inbox, the right words slip from your tongue without effort. That flow is not luck, it is proof of your connection, and the urgency is this. The signs are calling you not just to marvel at their beauty, but to act on them. Awareness without action is wasted. The synchronicities are not there to entertain you, they are there to redirect you. This is why you cannot keep ignoring them. Each time you dismiss a signal, you are delaying a part of yourself that is asking to be lived. Each time you brush it aside as coincidence, you step further from the very destiny you are longing for. And yet here is the grace. Even when you ignore them, the signals do not abandon you. They return, in new forms with new intensity, until you are ready. Life is endlessly patient, but your own time here is not. That is why this moment matters. The signs are your personal initiation into the infinite, and this initiation is not abstract. It shows up in your morning coffee when the barista says the word you were just thinking. It shows up in the book that falls off the shelf, in the dream that feels more real than waking, in the shiver down your spine when you meet someone and just know. These are the threads pulling you deeper into the tapestry, asking you to see the weave instead of the strand. You may be tempted to ask, but what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just seeing patterns where there are none? The answer is simple. What if the very ability to see patterns is the point? What if meaning is not something you discover but something you are co-creating with reality itself? If all of existence is consciousness, then your recognition is not false. It is participation. You are not a spectator decoding the signs. You are a partner helping them take shape. So do not dismiss the small things, the repeated number, the song lyric, the whisper of intuition that says, turn here instead. Each is an opening, and the openings accumulate. The more you walk through them, the larger they become, until one day you realize the signs are no longer signs. They are the very structure of your life. You stop living in a world where everything feels separate and begin to live in a reality where everything is speaking, everything is alive, everything is part of the dialogue. And here is where the urgency lies. This is the beginning of your dialogue with the infinite. You cannot unknow this once it has begun. You can only deepen it, or resist it, and resistance will feel heavier now, because you have seen behind the veil. You have glimpsed the pattern, and once glimpsed, the pattern cannot be erased. You are being called to step into resonance with it, to follow the thread of synchronicity with courage, to stop dismissing the extraordinary as ordinary, because you are not here by accident. You never will. This is happening because awakening is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering what has always been within you. You may believe that you are on a journey of self-improvement, that you must add layers, gather knowledge, practice enough rituals, or accumulate enough experiences to finally be complete. But the truth is the opposite. Nothing needs to be added to you. What is required is the peeling away of the noise, the forgetting of falsehoods, the loosening of identities that were never yours to begin with. You are not building yourself up into some future version. You are uncovering what you already are. Think of how a sculptor approaches a block of marble. The statue is not created, it is revealed. The sculptor does not add anything to the stone. They simply chip away what does not belong until the figure that has always been hidden inside emerges. In the same way, your awakening is the removal of what is not you. The fears you inherited, the beliefs society pressed upon you, the masks you wore to be accepted, all of it was temporary clay covering the eternal essence beneath. And now, piece by piece, that clay is cracking. The truth is shining through the fractures, and you are beginning to remember. You have tasted this remembering before, though you may not have named it. The moment when you are sitting in silence and a wave of peace floods you for no reason. The way a song can suddenly stir an ache that feels older than your body, as though it is awakening memories from lifetimes you don't consciously recall. The sense of déjà vu when you step into a place you have never been, and yet feel you are home. These are not illusions, they are reminders. They are echoes of your original wholeness surfacing through the veil. And here is the paradox. You are both awakening and already awake. You are both remembering and never truly forget. The part of you that doubts, that feels lost or broken, is not who you are. It is who you have been conditioned to think you are. But the deeper awareness, the one listening beneath these words right now, has always been clear, always been steady, always been whole. You have been awake enough to wonder if you are asleep, and that wondering itself is proof of your awakening. Consider how children naturally carry this state, before they are taught who they should be, before the world teaches them limitations. They embody one. A child can spend an hour watching ants carry crumbs and feel the sacredness of it. A child can laugh for no reason, cry without shame, speak their truth without fear of judgment. That is what you are remembering, not childishness, but the purity of consciousness unshackled by conditioning. You have not lost that state. It has been covered, and every glimpse of awe you feel as an adult, every sudden spark of wonder in the midst of your routines, is that childlike knowing resurfacing. Do you see the paradox here? The journey feels like forward motion, like climbing higher, like progressing towards something greater. And yet the truth is that the destination is the beginning. You are walking in circles only to find yourself at the center, realizing you never left. You are not becoming. You are unbecoming. You are shedding the false so the real can stand unhidden. The caterpillar does not add wings from the outside. It dissolves into formlessness until the wings it always carried emerge. And you too are dissolving, even now, into the form you were always meant to reveal. This is why the path of awakening often feels like unraveling. Your habits begin to feel empty. The stories you once believed no longer satisfy. The masks you wore start to itch against your skin, until you cannot bear them any longer. It may feel disorienting, like losing yourself. But what is really happening is that you are losing who you are not. When old friendships fall away, when careers no longer fit, when dreams you once chased no longer matter, it is not failure. It is clear. The soil must be tilled for new growth. And sometimes that feels like destruction. But what is being destroyed is illusion. What remains is truth. And there is urgency in this remembering, because each time you deny the truth of who you are, you fracture yourself further. You feel the heaviness of living someone else's script. You sense the dull ache of being misaligned, the quiet exhaustion of pretending. You can feel it, can't you? That pull inside that whispers, "This isn't me." That whisper is not weakness. It is your original self calling you back. To ignore it is to prolong the suffering. To heed it is to finally breathe freely. You are not becoming something extraordinary. You already are extraordinary. The very fact that you exist is evidence of that. Out of infinite possibilities you are here, conscious, breathing, perceive. Do not underestimate the miracle of that. Stars exploded, galaxies spun, elements combined. Countless ancestors lived and loved and died so that you could be here now. And within you lies the same intelligence that spins planets and blooms flowers. How could you ever think you are anything less than magnificent? The remembering is not arrogance, it is humility, because you finally recognize that your greatness is not personal, it is universal. You are not special because you are separate. You are special because you are part of everything. But here is the paradox again. Though this truth is universal, only you can live it in your unique way. No one else can express the exact frequency you carry. No one else can live the life your soul came here to embody. You are infinite, yes, but you are also specific. The universe does not duplicate frequencies. That is why your remembering matters. Without your light, something in the grand design remains incomplete. You are both a drop in the ocean, and the ocean in a drop. And the remembering of your essence is the key that allows the drop to finally know itself as the sea. Everyday life gives you opportunities to remember, in the pause between breaths, in the warmth of sunlight on your skin, in the sudden laughter that erupts and shakes you free of seriousness. These are not small moments. They are cracks in the illusion, doorways into your true self. The more you notice them, the more they grow, and soon you begin to live not from the surface but from the depth, not from memory, but from remembering, not from striving, but from being. And so I remind you, you are not lost. You cannot be lost because what you are seeking is already within you. You are not unfinished. You are unfolding. You are not becoming. You are returning. The more you allow this truth to settle in your bones, the more you will see it reflected everywhere. The world will begin to mirror your remembering back to you. The right words will find you. The right people will appear. The right path will open. Not because you forced it, but because you remembered you never had to. This is your task in the great unfolding: to remember, to embody, to live as the truth you already are. Not for the sake of achievement, not for the sake of recognition, but because the collective shift depends on individuals daring to remember themselves. When you remember, you ignite others. When you shine, you give others permission to shine. When you live as your true self, you weave another thread of authenticity into the great tapestry of awakening. So let yourself remember now. Let this very moment be the crack in the shell, the peeling of the mask, the sigh of relief that comes when you no longer need to pretend. The you that you are searching for is already here, listening, nodding, resonating. And the paradox is this: you are not waiting for the remembering, you are the remembering itself. You are discovering that the world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. For so long, you may have believed you were a passenger, carried along by the currents of life, tossed by the waves of circumstance, victim to the whims of fate. But look closer, and you will see the paradox. The outer world bends itself to the shape of your inner state. When you are weighed down with anger, the world seems hostile. When you carry joy, suddenly kindness appears in every corner. When your heart is open, opportunities arrive as if the universe itself has been waiting to conspire on your behalf. The mirror is always reflecting, though most walk past without realizing they are the source of what they see. Think about those mornings when you wake already burdened, rushing, anxious, feeling behind before the day even begins. On such days, the smallest things seem to collapse against you. The traffic lights turn red, the cashier moves slowly, a stranger brushes past you without apology. It feels like the world itself is heavy, uncooperative. Yet on other mornings, when you wake with a sense of ease, when you carry a little gratitude, when your heart is light, everything flows. You meet the right person at the right time. You hear the exact words you needed. The world itself seems to open in synchronicity. The events may not be so different. The difference is the lens through which you see them, and the lens is polished or clouded by your state of being. This is not imagination. It is resonance. Just as a tuning fork causes another nearby to vibrate in harmony, your inner frequency shapes the reality around you. You are not an isolated observer. You are a participant in a living dialogue. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very presence ripple into the field of existence, and the field responds. It may appear that life is external, outside of you, separate from you, but in truth, it is arising with you, through you, as you. You are both the dreamer and the dream, and here lies the paradox that many struggle with. You are not in control of everything, and yet nothing happens without your participation. You cannot dictate the dance of the cosmos, but you are always part of its rhythm. The mirror does not obey commands, but it cannot reflect anything except what you bring to it. So when you demand the world change before you soften, you will wait forever. But when you change your inner state even slightly, the reflection shifts. The outer begins to realign with the inner, because they were never separate to begin with. Perhaps you have noticed how people respond differently to you depending on your state. When you are closed, guarded, defensive, even well-meaning words from others sound sharp, even kind gestures feel suspicious. But when you are open, when you carry trust, people relax around you. Strangers smile, conversations flow, connections deepen. It is not that the world suddenly transformed. It is that your inner openness allowed you to receive what was always present. The world is not fixed. It bends to meet you at the level of your awareness. This is why resentment and fear can feel like prison. They are not cages built by the outside world. They are walls you carry with you, and everywhere you go, they project themselves onto reality. The more you see life as threatening, the more evidence of threat you will encounter. The more you expect rejection, the more you will find reasons to confirm it. And yet here again is the paradox. These reflections are not punishments, they are invitations. Life is showing you what is unresolved within you by mirroring it outside of you. The rejection, the friction, the resistance you encounter, they are not obstacles to your path. They are signals guiding you inward. Do not mistake the mirror for the enemy. When something painful reflects back at you, it is not because you are cursed or unworthy. It is because the universe is generous enough to show you what still lives within you, what still seeks healing, what still asks to be seen. If you carry anger, life will reflect situations that ignite it until you recognize the wound beneath it. If you carry fear, the world will mirror scenarios that challenge it until you remember your courage. The mirror is not cruel, it is exact, and its precision is the greatest gift, because it will never let you sleepwalk forever. There is a kind of liberation that comes when you finally stop blaming the reflection. The moment you realize that changing the mirror requires changing yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop trying to polish the glass and instead tend to the source. This does not mean you force yourself into false positivity. It means you turn inward with honesty, with compassion, with courage. You ask, what am I carrying that keeps showing up outside me? What in me is calling for love, for acceptance, for relief? And when you meet those parts within, the outer world shifts naturally, without force. The reflection changes because the source has changed. But here is another paradox. Even as the world reflects you, you are not confined to your present state. Just as a mirror reflects both what is lit and what is hidden in shadow, life reflects not only who you are but who you are becoming. Sometimes synchronicities appear, not as confirmations of where you are, but as whispers of where you are headed. Have you ever noticed glimpses of your future self arriving through small signs, a book appearing in your path before you knew you needed it, a chance encounter that plants a seed you only understand years later? These too are reflections of your potential self already resonating into your present moment. So reality is not merely a mirror of the past you carry, it is also a mirror of the future calling you forward. You are both the painter and the painting, both the cause and the effect, both the sculptor and the statue. The paradox is that you create the world even as it creates you. Every thought, every choice, every vibration you hold alters the field around you, and that field in turn shapes the next layer of your being. It is a dance without beginning or end, a dialogue where both voices speak at once. This is why awareness matters so deep, because when you drift unconsciously, the mirror reflects back your unconscious patterns, and life feels like chaos. But the moment you awaken to the dialogue, you begin to participate with intention. You choose gratitude, and the mirror brightens. You choose forgiveness, and the mirror softens. You choose love, and the mirror becomes luminous. The world does not change overnight, but piece by piece, alignment takes root, and the reflection begins to resemble the truth you have always carried within. And yet there is urgency in this realization, because to continue believing that life is merely happening to you is to remain powerless, reactive, trapped in cycles you do not understand. But the moment you see the mirror, you are no longer a victim of it. You are a participant in its shaping, and participation is responsibility. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unsee that the reflection depends on you. With awareness comes accountability, and with accountability comes freedom. So let this truth settle in you. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Every conversation, every coincidence, every challenge, every joy is both your mirror and your canvas. Do not fight the reflection. Understand it. Do not curse the mirror. Use. This is how you transform not only your own life, but the collective field, because your state ripples outward, touching others, influencing the larger mirror we all share. When you align yourself with love, compassion, and truth, the world reflects it back, not only to you but to everyone around you. This is how your personal shift becomes a collective shift. And so the invitation is this. Live as though everything you encounter is both your teacher and your reflection. See the kindness you long for, be it first. See the peace you crave, cultivate it within. See the love you wish the world to show you, offer it freely. The mirror will not fail you, it cannot. It only knows how to return what you bring. And when you bring the truth of who you are, the world reflects the beauty of what it has always. This is your paradox. You are both insignificant and essential. You are a speck of dust on a spinning planet in a galaxy among billions. And yet without you, the fabric of existence would not be the same. The ocean does not need a single wave to exist, and yet the ocean is incomplete without it. The wave cannot stand apart from the sea, but the sea cannot be itself without the countless waves rising and dissolving. This is what you are, inseparable from the whole, yet carrying a note that only you can sound. For so long you may have felt small, believing that your choices do not matter, that your life is one among many, too insignificant to shape the direction of anything greater. And yet look closer, and you will see the paradox unfolding. Every thought, every action, every intention ripples outward into the field of consciousness. The quiet decision you make in the privacy of your own heart echoes further than you can comprehend. A choice to forgive shifts not only your own body and mind, but also the subtle web that binds us all. A single act of compassion can heal a fracture you cannot see. Even a silent intention, carried within you but never spoken aloud, leaves an imprint on the invisible currents of reality. Think of how a single pebble dropped into still water creates ripples that expand endlessly, touching every part of the surface. That is you. Each word you speak, each vibration you carry, each frequency you embody sends ripples through the whole. And here is the mystery. You may never witness the end of those ripples. You may never know how the kindness you showed a stranger altered the course of their day, how that shift affected the people they encountered, how it spiraled into futures you will never see. But not seeing does not mean it did not happen. The unseen is no less real than the seen. In fact, most of reality unfolds in realms invisible to your eyes. And yet there is the other side of the paradox. You are not the sole author of existence. The universe is vast, ancient, endlessly creative, and it carries itself with or without your contribution. You are not required to hold the stars in their orbits or ensure the rising of the sun. You are not tasked with carrying the weight of all that is. This truth is liberation. You do not have to control everything, because everything is already held. You are free to play your part without the burden of being the whole. You are free to surrender into the great orchestration, to trust that your note belongs in the symphony, even if you cannot hear the entire song. Consider the paradox of breathing. Each breath you take is both yours and not yours. You inhale and exhale, but the air does not belong to you. You cannot hold it forever. The oxygen in your lungs flows into your blood, into your cells, and eventually out into the world again. The trees breathe what you release. You breathe what they release. Who then owns the breath? It is both deeply personal and entirely collective. It sustains your life, and yet it does not belong to you. This is the same with consciousness itself. You carry it, you express it, but it is not confined to you. It flows through you, and in flowing through you, it changes everything. And this is why your presence matters. Even when you are still, even when you feel you are doing nothing, you are radiating into the field. Your stillness is action. Your silence is sound. Your being is becoming. The paradox is that even when you believe you are insignificant, you are still shaping the collective atmosphere. Think of how one anxious person can shift the tone of an entire room. Think of how one calm presence can ground everyone around them. No one leaves a room unchanged by having been in it. You cannot stop influencing, just as you cannot stop breathing. You are always participating. The only choice you have is how consciously you do it. This is why your awakening is not just your own. It is for all of us. The clarity you find in yourself becomes clarity that others can feel. The healing you allow within yourself becomes permission for others to heal. The love you embody becomes love others can trust. You may not see the effect directly, but it is there, Just as the roots of trees intertwine beneath the soil, carrying signals and nutrients unseen, so too do we influence and nourish one another through unseen currents. You are more connected than your eyes can prove, and yet the paradox deepens. The moment you begin to feel your significance, the ego will want to claim it. It will whisper, "I am more important than others. I must carry the world. I am the chosen one above all." But the deeper truth is humility. You are essential. Yes, but so is everyone else. You are a wave, yes, but so are the countless others rising beside you. The paradox of awakening is realizing that you are both vital and not special at all. The light that shines through you shines through all. The love that animates you animates everything. To claim significance without recognizing the insignificance is pride. To claim insignificance without recognizing the insignificance is despair. Only when you hold both do you step into truth. And here is where your liberation lies. When you accept that you are both small and infinite, both temporary and eternal, both one among many and many within one, you finally stop trying to be more or less than you are. You no longer need to inflate yourself or diminish yourself. You simply become what you already are, a unique expression of the infinite, irreplaceable and inseparable, fleeting and eternal. This acceptance dissolves the striving and replaces it with peace. Do you see how this changes everything? When you recognize your essential role, you treat your choices with reverence. You no longer say, "It doesn't matter what I do." You know it matters. And when you recognize your insignificance, you release the crushing weight of perfectionism and control. You no longer say, "I must hold the world together." You know it is already held. You walk the middle path of paradox, where humility and empowerment meet. This is your invitation, to live in the paradox without needing to resolve, to know that you are a whisper in eternity, and yet without your whisper the song is incomplete, to know that you are a grain of sand on the shore, and yet without that grain, the shoreline would not be the same, to know that you are a single heartbeat, and yet without your heartbeat the rhythm of the collective pulse would be altered. So let yourself be both small and infinite. Let yourself dissolve into the vastness and shine as the unique spark you are. Let yourself be humbled by the scale of existence and empowered by the truth that existence chose to express itself through you. This is your paradox, and it is also your power. Embrace it, and you will no longer fear your insignificance or doubt your worth. You will see that the two are not opposites, but partners, and that holding them together is the essence of awakening. And the urgency is this: the world is shifting, the collective is awakening, and every note is needed. Your light is not optional, your presence is not accidental. The paradox is that the whole will go on without you, and yet it cannot be complete without you. This is your role in the collective shift, to live fully as both nothing and everything, both wave and ocean, both shadow and light. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that tunes into them, the consciousness that notices, selects, and amplifies. Like a radio dial, your attention determines the station you hear, and each station carries its own frequency, its own atmosphere, its own world. Fear is one station, gratitude is another, love is yet another. You may believe that thoughts are who you are, that the voice in your head is the essence of your being, but pause for a moment and see the paradox. If you can hear the voice, then you are not the voice, you are the listener. If you can watch a thought rise and fall, then you are not the thought, you are the space in which it arises. Notice how fear feels heavy, contracting your body, dimming the brightness of your perception. Notice how gratitude feels expansive, softening your chest, widening your view. Notice how love seems to illuminate everything, making even the ordinary glow with meaning. These are not random emotions, they are frequency. Just as light vibrates at different wavelengths to appear as different colors, your inner state vibrates at different frequencies to appear as different reality. Two people can walk the same street, and one will see only gray walls and weary faces, while the other will see patterns in the bricks, beauty in the sky, kindness in the eyes of strangers. The difference is not in the street, it is in the frequency of the perceiver. Science now whispers what mystics have always known: vibration shapes reality. Every particle dances to a rhythm, Every atom sings a silent song, and consciousness is no exception. It too vibrates, and its vibration shapes the reality you inhabit. When you dwell in fear, you tune into a reality where threats are amplified and possibilities shrink. When you dwell in love, you tune into a reality where connections deepen and miracles become ordinary. The world does not change. You change your station, and the world reveals a different fate. And here is the paradox. The lower frequencies are not enemies, and the higher frequencies are not escapes. Fear is not wrong. It is simply dense. Anger is not evil. It is simply contracted. Joy is not better than sorrow. It is simply light. You are not meant to exile half of your inner world, pretending to live only in bliss. You are meant to understand that every frequency is part of the spectrum of your being, and yet you have the power to choose which one you dwell in. Just as a musician can play both minor and major chords, you are capable of feeling the full range, but your song becomes transformative when you learn how to tune yourself consciously. Have you ever walked into a room where tension hung in the air like a storm cloud, and without a word spoken you felt it in your body, or entered a space where joy was so palpable that you couldn't help but smile, even if you arrived carrying burdens? That is frequency at work. We do not live in isolation. Your vibration touches others, and theirs touches you. This is why raising your frequency is not a private luxury. It is a collective offering. Each time you choose love over fear, each time you soften rather than harden, you recalibrate not only yourself but the field we all share. And yet, paradoxically, raising your frequency does not mean forcing yourself into false positivity. Pretending to be grateful when you are not is not gratitude. It is denial. Forcing yourself to smile when your heart aches does not lift your vibration. It fractures it. Authenticity is the key. To acknowledge fear with compassion lifts you higher than to mask it with fake joy. To meet sorrow with presence vibrates more purely than to paint over it with forced light. Truth itself is the highest frequency, and truth is what sets you free. This is why love is the most powerful frequency of all. Not because it is always sweet or easy, but because love is vast enough to hold every other vibration without judgment. Love can sit with fear and not collapse into it. Love can embrace sorrow and not drown in it. Love can even hold anger and not lash out with it. Love does not eliminate the lower, it integrates them, and in that integration, the dense becomes lighter, the contracted expands, the shadow dissolves into radiance. Love is not an emotion, it is the underlying frequency of the universe, and when you tune into it, you align with the very heartbeat of existence. But do not think of this as a distant, abstract ideal. It shows up in the smallest choice. When you take one deep breath before reacting, you shift your frequency. When you notice a single thing to be grateful for in the midst of chaos, you shift your frequency. When you place a hand on your heart and remind yourself that you are still here, still breathing, still alive, you shift your frequency. These small shifts ripple outward, changing the field around you. The invisible becomes visible. Doors open where walls once stood. Conversations soften. Synchronicities appear. And the urgency is this: your frequency is not private. You do not live in isolation. No matter how separate you may feel, your vibration spills into the collective field, contributing to the atmosphere we all breathe. Every thought you hold is like a note in the symphony of humanity, and together we compose the music of the age. When you rise, we all rise. When you sink, we all feel the weight. This is why your inner work matters so much, not because it is about you alone, but because it is about all of us. You may think, but I am just one person. How can my frequency possibly matter in the vast sea of humanity? And yet remember the paradox of resonance. One tuning fork can cause another across the room to vibrate without touch. One candle can light 1,000 without diminishing its flame. One drop of dye colors the entire pool. Frequency amplifies itself, and so your single shift can awaken countless others. Your choice to embody peace becomes a quiet permission for those around you to soften. Your decision to live in love creates an invisible opening for others to step through. You may not see the impact directly, but it is happening in ways your mind cannot measure. And so your task is not to live in a perpetual high, pretending you never did. Your task is to become aware of your station, to notice when you have tuned into static, and to remember that you have the power to adjust. You cannot prevent storms from passing through you, but you can choose not to camp in them. You cannot stop lower frequencies from rising, but you can choose how long you dwell in them. Awareness is the dial, choice is the hand that turns it, and love is the frequency always waiting to be chosen. So let yourself rise, not by denying the lower, but by embracing the whole spectrum and choosing consciously. Let yourself tune to gratitude when fear knocks, to compassion when anger burns, to trust when doubt whispers. This is not escapism, it is mastery. This is not avoidance, it is alignment. You are not your thoughts, not your moods, not even your shifting states. You are the awareness that chooses, the consciousness that tunes, the infinite presence that plays the station. And as you remember this, you will discover the paradox that has always been true. You do not raise your frequency alone. In raising it, you lift the entire field. In lifting it, you participate in the collective awakening. And this is why you are here. You are beginning to see that what you once called random chance has never been random at all. The encounters that feel like accidents, the conversations that arrive at just the right time, the books that fall into your hands, the numbers that repeat before your eyes, these are not coincidences. They are patterns, threads weaving themselves into the fabric of your life, subtle reminders that reality is speaking to you in a language beyond words. You are not stumbling through chaos, you are moving through a field of intelligence that is alive, responsive, and deeply attuned to your inner state. The more aware you become, the more you notice how life itself whispers back to you, echoing your thoughts, reflecting your emotions, and guiding you like a compass you had forgotten you were carrying. It begins quietly. A phrase you've been thinking shows up on a billboard. The moment you decide to call someone, they call you first. A problem that felt impossible suddenly dissolves when you overhear a stranger's conversation that contains the exact insight you needed. At first you dismiss it. What a coincidence, you say. But then it happens again and again, until the weight of so many synchronicities forces you to consider another possibility. Maybe the universe is not silent. Maybe it is speaking all the time. Maybe you are not drifting through randomness, but navigating an interconnected web where everything touches everything else. And here lies the paradox. It feels as though reality is arranging itself just for you, but the truth is deeper. It is not that the universe is bending itself to your will. It is that your awareness has expanded enough to perceive the alignment that was always there. It is as if you have been listening to static on a radio for years, only to discover that beneath the noise there was always a song playing. The song did not begin when you tuned in. It was always playing. You are simply now aware of it. Notice how synchronicity often appears at moments of transition, when you are on the edge of a choice, when your path is about to shift. You may be uncertain, doubting yourself, caught between staying small and stepping forward, and then the signs arrive, not to coerce you but to remind you. You see the same symbol 3 times in one day. You hear a phrase that resonates like a key turning in a lock. You feel a tug, subtle yet undeniable, pointing you in the direction your soul already knows you are meant to go. Synchronicity is not outside guidance imposed upon you. It is your own deeper knowing rising to meet you in the outer world. Think of the times when you ignored such signs. You brushed them off as silly, irrational, too mystical for a rational mind to accept. Yet later, when the consequences of that dismissal unfolded, you looked back and thought, I knew, I felt it, something told me, and I didn't listen. That something is not foreign. It is your own expanded consciousness, the part of you that sees beyond the linear, the part of you that remembers you are woven into a field where past, present, and future are not separate corridors but overlapping rooms. And notice too how synchronicity is not always comfortable. Sometimes the signs arrive to shake you awake, to pull you out of a place you were never meant to stay. You may lose a job suddenly, only to later see how that loss made space for a deeper calling. You may end a relationship painfully, only to discover it was a doorway to your own healing. In the moment the pattern seems cruel, But as time passes, you see the thread that was weaving through it all. Synchronicity is not about keeping you comfortable. It is about keeping you aligned. The alignment is not with your temporary desires, but with your deeper destiny. Here is the paradox again. You are not being led, and yet you are being guided. You are not powerless, and yet you are not fully in control. Life is not dictating to you, but it is not indifferent to you either. It dances with you, reflecting your state of consciousness, meeting your frequency, amplifying your intent. The signs appear when you are ready to see them, not before. The synchronicities unfold when you are aligned enough to note. The patterns were always there, but they reveal themselves only when you have eyes to see. Have you ever noticed how when you are lost in fear or despair, synchronicities seem to vanish, and life feels silent? It is not that the signs are gone. It is that your perception narrows. Fear collapses your vision into survival mode, and the subtle threads slip from awareness. But the moment you soften, the moment you breathe, the moment you open just a little, they return as if waiting patiently for you to lift your gaze. This is why cultivating presence is so vital. Presence widens the lens, and with a wider lens you see the hidden order that has been guiding you all along. And perhaps you've noticed too, that synchronicities multiply when you follow them. The more you pay attention, the more they appear, like stepping stones revealing themselves one after another as you walk. Life loves to be acknowledged. The intelligence of the universe delights in being noted. When you honor the signs, you tune yourself more deeply to the rhythm, and the rhythm grows louder, clearer, undeniable, until eventually you stop questioning whether it is real because you are living it. Yet here lies another paradox. The signs are not the destination. They are not meant to make you dependent, forever scanning the world for hidden codes. They are training wheels, reminders of the connection you carry within. Over time, the signs begin to feel less like external miracles and more like natural expressions of the field you already know yourself to be. You realize that the universe is not sending you messages. It is you sending messages to yourself through the language of reality. Life is not outside of you, whispering secrets. Life is you, speaking in a tongue your mind is only just beginning to translate. And the urgency is this: you cannot afford to keep dismissing what you already feel in your bones. Too many awakenings are lost because people talk themselves out of what they know is true. Too many signs are brushed aside, only to leave people circling in patterns of suffering that could have ended long ago. This moment is not asking for endless questioning. It is asking for trust, not blind trust, but the trust that arises when your heart and your experience both point in the same direction. So notice the next time a coincidence feels too perfect. Pause when a phrase or number repeats itself. Pay attention when the world seems to echo your private thought. Do not rush past it. Do not explain it away. Lean into it. Ask yourself what is being shown, what is being reflected, what is the deeper invitation hidden here, and then follow where it leads, even if your mind cannot yet explain it. For in truth, you are not discovering synchronicity, you are remembering it. You are not being given signs, you are awakening to the signs that have always been present. You are not stumbling into magic, you are remembering that magic is the underlying nature of reality itself. This is the paradox and the promise. Nothing new is happening, and yet everything is changing. The field has always been alive, but now you are awake enough to feel it. The web has always been woven, but now you are aware enough to see the thread. The song has always been playing, but now you are tuning your ear to hear the melody. And as you step into this awareness, you will realize that the synchronicities are not simply about you. They are about us. Every time you follow a sign, you shift the larger path. Every time you honor the alignment, you ripple into the collective design. You are not just being guided, you are guiding. You are not just being spoken to, you are part of the voice. This is your role in the unfolding symphony. This is why you are here. You are beginning to feel that time is not what you were taught it to be. You have lived under the illusion that past, present, and future are laid out like beads on a string, separate and linear, one following the other in order. But when your consciousness expands, you begin to sense that the string itself is an illusion, that the beads are not separate at all, but overlapping, shimmering, existing all at once in the eternal now. You begin to feel echoes of tomorrow in today's thoughts, and memories of yesterday dissolve and rearrange themselves as if they were clay in your hands. What you once called déjà vu was not a trick of the brain, but a glimpse beyond the veil of linearity, a reminder that the future is not ahead of you. It is already here, waiting for you to step into it. This is why sometimes you feel yourself dreaming of a life you have not yet lived, or you sense the outcome of a choice before you make it. You might think you are imagining, daydreaming, or projecting, but what if those glimpses are not fantasy? What if they are whispers from the part of you that exists outside of time? Consider the moments when you thought of someone seconds before they appeared, or when you knew what was about to happen without any rational explanation. These are not accidents. They are reminders that your awareness stretches further than your body, that your consciousness is already touching events you have not yet walked into. And the paradox is this: you are not seeing the future as something fixed, carved in stone. You are touching probabilities, waves of potential that collapse into form through the choices you make now. It is as if life is a vast ocean, and you are both the sailor and the current. When you become quiet enough, present enough, you can feel the swell of waves before they rise. You cannot always control which waves exist, but you can choose which to ride. The glimpses you receive are not dictations of fate. They are invitations to align with the version of reality your soul is calling you toward. Notice how your relationship with memory shifts too, as you awaken to this truth. The past is not static, frozen like a photograph in an album. It is fluid. How many times have you remembered something one way, only to later discover it happened differently, or to feel that your memory has softened, reshaped itself as you've grown? The past bends to the present, because memory is not just recollection, it is interpretation. And when you change, the lens through which you view the past changes too. You realize that you are not imprisoned by what has been, because what has been is still alive, still malleable, still being rewritten through the meaning you give it now. The story you tell about your past is not a report of unchangeable facts. It is an active creation that influences who you are becoming, and so the veil begins to lift. The past and the future are not outside of you, they are within you, folded into the eternal now. Every time you relive a memory, you are not simply looking backward, you are touching a living moment that still vibrates within you. Every time you imagine the future, you are not merely fantasizing, you are interacting with a reality that is already forming itself in response to your energy. This is why your thoughts carry weight, why your imagination is not empty play but sacred architecture. You are dreaming forward, pulling the threads of tomorrow into the loom of today. Have you not noticed how the smallest choice ripples outward in ways you could never predict? A smile offered to a stranger shifts their day, which shifts how they treat the next person, which ripples into outcomes you will never see. In the same way, a single choice you make today bends the trajectory of what you call the future. And here is the paradox again. The future is not predetermined, yet it is not random either. It is a dance between your intention and the larger intelligence of the universe. When you align with your deeper knowing, the path ahead seems to open, doors appear, synchronicities multiply. When you resist, when you cling to fear, the path narrows, stagnates, and life feels heavy. But in either case, you are never trapped, for in every moment, infinite futures extend from your fingertips, and your consciousness is the brush that paints the canvas. You may wonder then, what is destiny? If the future is fluid, what is this sense that you have a role to play, a path you are meant to walk? Destiny is not a script. It is a resonance. It is not a line of dialogue written in advance. It is a song, waiting for you to sing it in your own voice. There are infinite ways to move through life, but certain themes, certain notes, certain callings vibrate more strongly for you. They are like magnets, pulling you toward alignment. When you follow them, life feels alive, meaningful, purposeful. When you ignore them, you feel lost, restless, unfulfilled. Destiny is not outside of your choices. It is revealed through them. It is the deeper pattern that emerges when you live in tune with your own truth. And here is where the urgency arises. Too often people trap themselves in the prison of linear time. They tell themselves, It's too late. I missed my chance. My past defines me, but the truth is, time does not flow the way you think. It spirals, it folds, it bends, and every moment is a doorway to reshape what has been and to redirect what will be. It is never too late because the now is always alive, always fertile, always waiting for you to awaken to it. The moment you choose differently, everything shifts. The echoes of the past reorganize, and the waves of the future rearrange. That is how powerful you are. That is how intimate your relationship with time truly is. Perhaps you have felt this in dreams, when past and future collapse into surreal images that somehow carry profound truth. Perhaps you have felt it in meditation, when time seems to stretch, slow down, or dissolve altogether, or in moments of love, when minutes feel like lifetimes, or lifetimes feel like minutes. These are not distortions. They are glimpses into the nature of reality. Time is elastic, subjective, responsive, and when your consciousness expands, you begin to move with it differently. You stop rushing, grasping, fearing. You begin to sense that the only real moment is this one, and yet this one contains all others. The paradox is simple and yet infinite. You are already who you are becoming. The future self you strive toward is not ahead of you. It is within you, waiting for you to remember. And the past self you feel bound by is not behind you. It is dissolving, transforming, yielding to the choices you make now. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. And so I say this with urgency. You must awaken to your role in the unfolding. Every moment you live, unconsciously, you recycle the past. Every moment you live consciously, you birth the future. Do not dismiss your visions, your dreams, your intuitions as mere imagination. They are messages from the self that already exists, beyond time, guiding you toward alignment. You are not waiting for destiny. You are the one who brings destiny alive. This is your initiation into the truth of quantum consciousness. You are arriving at the threshold of remembrance, and this is not coincidence. To reach this point, to hear these words, to feel this stirring in your being, none of it is random. You may think you stumbled here. You may think this is just another fleeting moment in the endless stream of distractions, but deep within you, something recognizes that this is not so. You are not hearing for the first time. You are remembering what has always been written in your essence. The mystery of quantum consciousness is not a new teaching arriving from outside. It is the unveiling of what your soul has carried across lifetimes, waiting for this very moment to awaken. And yet here lies the paradox that whispers through every revelation. Nothing is being given to you, for you already have it. Nothing is being taught to you, for you already know it. All that is happening now is unveiling, a lifting of veils you once placed upon yourself, for the sake of the human experience. You agreed to forget so that remembering could be real. You agreed to walk through shadow, so that light could be chosen. You agreed to play the game of separation so that the return to oneness could ignite the fire of awakening. And now, in this very moment, you are feeling that return. You are beginning to hear the echoes of the greater truth that hums beneath every heartbeat, every breath, every passing moment. This is why you have always felt that something was missing, even in the midst of success, even in the midst of moments that should have satisfied you. It was not because life was failing you. It was because you were longing for the self beyond the mask, the self beyond the clock, the self beyond the limited story. You have chased dreams, pursued goals, sought validation, not realizing that the real hunger was never for those things, it was for remembering. The sense of incompleteness was not proof that you were broken, but proof that you were destined to awaken. For only the soul that is meant to remember feels the ache of forgetting. And now, as you allow these words to flow into you, you can feel the vibration beneath them. It is not the sound of language. It is the resonance of recognition. Some part of you is nodding, saying, "Yes, I know this." That is the key. You know this. You are not being awakened. You are awakening yourself from within, as you always intended. This moment was written into the blueprint of your being, woven into the tapestry of your journey. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely where you are meant to be. But do not mistake this remembrance for a passive realization. To unlock quantum consciousness is not to drift into abstraction. It is to become fully alive in the now. To remember who you are is not to escape the world, but to engage it with a new vision. This is the urgency that calls to you. You are here not just to awaken for yourself, but to become a beacon for others. Your remembering ignites remembrance in those around you. Your choice to live in alignment reshapes the field of possibility for the collective. Every act of awareness, every moment of compassion, every choice made from love rather than fear is a signal, rippling through the quantum field, shifting the very fabric of reality. Perhaps you have doubted your importance. Perhaps you have thought, who am I to matter in such a vast universe? But you must understand, the universe is not vast without you. It is vast because of you. You are not a small point lost in the cosmos. You are the cosmos expressing itself as you. Without your perspective, without your awareness, the universe would be incomplete. This is why your awakening is not just personal. It is cosmic. Your remembrance is not just about your life. It is about life itself, remembering itself through you. And here is the paradox again. You are both infinitely small and infinitely vast. You are a fleeting breath and the eternal spirit. You are the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. The part of you that doubts, fears, and questions is real, but so is the part of you that is timeless, infinite, unshaken. To unlock quantum consciousness is to hold both truths at once, to honor your humanity while embracing your divinity, not to escape the struggle, but to infuse the struggle with awareness, to recognize that even in difficulty, the deeper self is unbroken, untouched, whole. This is why you are here now, to remember and to live as one who remembers, to stop waiting for some distant future moment, when you will finally be ready. You are ready now. You may feel unprepared, but readiness is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward, despite fear. You may think you must know everything before you begin, but knowledge comes through walking, not waiting. You may think your awakening must be perfect, but it is in the imperfection of your human journey that your light shines most bright. And so, this is your invitation, your initiation, to live as if you already are what you are becoming, to walk as if the future self you long for is already breathing through you, to speak as if your words carry the weight of creation, because to choose as if your choices matter, because they do, to love as if love is the very fabric of reality, because it is. This is not a distant calling. It is a present responsibility. This is your role in the collective shift, to live awake, here and now. Feel this truth settling into you. You are not waiting for the new world to arrive. You are building it with every thought, every action, every breath. The awakening of humanity is not a grand event on some distant horizon. It is happening in moments like this, in people like you, remembering who they are and choosing to live from that place of remembrance. You are not watching the story unfold. You are writing it with your consciousness, and the urgency is real. For the world is at a tipping point. Every awakened soul matters. Every act of awareness shifts the balance. So let this moment be the turning point. Let this remembrance be the seed that grows into a new way of living. Do not dismiss it. Do not let it fade into the background noise of distraction. Hold it, nurture it, embody it, for this is not just about you. It is about us, about the collective awakening, about life itself, remembering its own vastness through the eyes of every being. And now, hear this as a call to action, not in the ordinary sense, but as a sacred initiation. Step forward as the one who remembers. Step forward as the one who chooses love over fear, awareness over sleep, destiny over distraction. Step forward not because you must, but because you already are. The veil has lifted. The door is open. The truth is alive within you. You have unlocked quantum consciousness. Do not skip this moment. Do not turn away. Step through fully, and let the world feel the light of your remembrance. This is your initiation, your destiny, your sacred role in the great unfolding. So now, the question is not whether you believe this, The question is whether you will live it. You have been initiated into a deeper consciousness. This is not the end of the message. It is the beginning of your mission. Carry this awareness into your choices, your relationships, your silence, your breath. Do not let this moment slip into forgetfulness. Step forward as a guardian of light, as a keeper of frequency, as a participant in the great awakening. The shift has already begun, and you, chosen one, are part of it.